everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to talk about something that has bothered me for a very long time, how employers have the right to force female employees to wear sexually revealing costumes when the men don't have to. And I have to say, I'm on the fence about it. I'm highly offended that I've been exploited in my past. I went along with it. I was young and naive. I was a professional cheerleader, which is very exploitative. I was a Playboy bunny, which is just really the waitress wearing that cute uniform. I thought the uniform was adorable. So I went along with it. So I want to say that. But as I got older in my mid 30s or mid to late 30s, I still looked good and I still had my figure. So it wasn't that. I was bartending in a Hollywood nightclub and I was asked to wear a revealing costume. It was like that Britney Spears kind of schoolgirl outfit. And the male bartenders were wearing black shirt and black pants. So I just kept showing up when I first got hired wearing black shirt and black pants because I thought I looked just as good, fully dressed. And my boss finally told me, if you don't wear the uniform, you won't be on the schedule. And I was horrified. I called my girlfriend bartenders. I called girlfriends that weren't bartenders. I talked about it. The club, I made a lot of money. So I sold out, I gave in, and I wore the costume. But I was always resentful because the male bartenders who were making the same, it would have been different maybe if they paid us more, or I don't know, gave us some kind of special privilege. Because if you're exploiting my body, then I want to be paid for it. Right. And yes, I had the option of going somewhere else and working somewhere else, but Hollywood's very much like that. And in the club scene, they totally exploit the females. And it would be, I thought it all through. I'm like, well, the guys aren't going to wear a schoolgirl outfit. So of course it's not something that you can, make the guys wear too. So that would be silly. So I tried to, and I rationalized it. I knew the bar owners weren't evil men. They were just trying to do what was hip and cool and, make money. So, but I think what made me resent it more than anything was the fact that I wasn't paid more than the guys. Something, a special parking spot, something. If I have to be different than the person who's doing the exact same job as I, standing right beside me, and I'm splitting my tips with them, then I want something more if I have to do something more.
And especially we've talked about this before too. Women have to do a lot of other things, AKA spend more money to get the look. We pay more money for our haircuts. We have to buy makeup usually, all that little extra stuff.
Our clothes are more expensive. Like right. A guy, in the business world, a guy can buy 5 suits and change the ties. Whereas we have to wear, different and shoes and all that. So there's a lot to be said, and I'm curious how this is going to play out. As we've got now the gender differences, and I looked this up online because when I was in, this was like over 20 years ago that I was like protesting having to wear the schoolgirl uniform, and I looked it up, and I was horrified to find out that it is legal for an employer to make a woman wear a different uniform. And I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. And so I looked it up again, since I knew we were going to talk about this. It's still legal. Now, one day somebody's going to challenge this, and then things will change. I don't want to be the old prude that throws a wrench in fun and youth and exploitation of people's good looks. But because, modeling, it's the same kind of something.
Sure. I was just going to say, what's the difference between, high fashion modeling where you see people wearing the little short thongy things,
but they're paid for it. If right. I'm going to have to go above and beyond what a guy doing the exact same job is doing, I want to be paid more. If I have to do more, I want to be paid more.
Where I see, help me if it's different here, but with the athletes, like with the Olympics, where the women were fined, I believe they were fined for not wearing, if they didn't wear those shorts.
Same idea.
Right. But that bothered me because I'm like, getting fined, that's so uncomfortable. Those little teeny skimpy shorts.
Well, and again, it's exploitation of their bodies to make money. And
mhm.
then they're being penalized because they don't want to be part of that. They're doing the sport, that's their talent. That's what they're doing and
Right.
showing up and doing. So it's the same idea. And I was horrified also about that. And until more women, like I said, I did it. And I don't mind that young girls want to show off their figures. I mean, what's wrong with that? You look good, have fun, be free, for whatever reason, whether it's to get attention or just to be comfortable or whatever. Get, that sexual attraction. But like I said, I don't want to be an old prude, but I still feel like it's exploitation. And if I'm going to have to do more, I want to be paid more. That's all. For me, that's the bottom line.
About the monetary
I want to be paid for my exploitation.
Right.
We're all exploited in some way.
Sure.
You use what you've got, you use your talents and skills. So I'm not so much against that, but I'm against not getting a piece of the pie.
Yeah. And women are, it's changing now, but like even in the movies, it was always like commonplace for the woman to be topless in certain films, and you would never see like full frontal
men
of
topless.
Men. No, well, you do see that. But recently there's been a lot more, showing the men's body in a sexually exploitive way, which is kind of unusual for film,
I don't know if that's the direction we want to go, really. I mean, is it necessary? That's
a question unto itself, but I personally feel people should be allowed to do, freedom of their art, whatever they want to do. And it's our choice to watch it if we don't want to. If I was making a film, yes, I agree with you. I don't necessarily need to show. To me, I'd rather allude to it. To me, that's sexier, but I don't mind if other people do it. If they want to show off their thing, good for them. Good for y'all.
I think that's just one of those dilemmas that, again, I'm not 100% sure about that either. I'm not some religious prude. Not that being religious makes you a prude either, but I'm not either. And I don't know if the sexuality, exploiting and flaunting our sexuality all the time is healthy for a society. I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go back to a time where women have to be covered and, have a shirt buttoned up to their neck and you can't show anything or touch or I just think there's a middle ground. And I do think that kind of it's for the youth, when you're young, but also I feel like if you're being exploited, you should be paid for it. And my biggest pet peeve of the whole thing is if I'm doing the exact same job, standing in the exact same hours, everything as a man, but I have to do something more. They're going to use my body and exploit me sexually. Then I want to be paid for it.
Right. I agree. Show her the money.
I can be bought. I mean, I think
show me the money.
Give me some money. I'll wear the low-cut top. Fine.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That's a whole other thing too, though, about men and women being like the financial pay. That's a whole other topic too. But I definitely agree with you. I think women should be compensated financially, especially if they're going to be showing off.
Yeah. Just if you're basically doing more, you're doing something. But it does say, I looked it up. It says something, as long as they require you to wear a different uniform, as long as it's not causing undue pressure or something like that. Really? Something that it was BS legal wording just to get around it. And, they can make women wear makeup. Let's say you're naturally beautiful. I need lots of makeup. I always have. So I don't understand that, but I've seen you without makeup and go without it. So let's say you don't want to wear makeup to your job one day and they say, well, you have to. Why would you have to wear makeup? I understand they use the Vegas dancers as an example, the showgirls or whatever. That's show business. I guess that's entertainment. Your job is entertainment. And if that's the case, that's where it's just such a fine line. I mean, but I do feel like as a society, if we're using women to lure people into our business, you're exploiting females in a restaurant. A restaurant's about selling food, not having young, pretty girls serve you. That's so, to me, barbaric. I mean, it just doesn't seem, and like I said, I was in that business for a long time. I've been a part of it. But I feel like, once I realized I was being exploited, that's when I started resisting and didn't like it. So,
yeah. Well,
anyway,
we'd
those are my
like to,
thoughts.
yes. And we would like to hear other people's thoughts too, don't you think?
Yeah, I would love to know. Again, and I don't want to give the impression that I'm against if it's your choice. I used to bartend in places where we could wear whatever we want, and I wore low-cut tops. I remember the guys would say, "Oh, she's got her tip top on tonight," and I did it. I mean, maybe subconsciously, but it was my choice. I wasn't being forced into it. So
right.
That's kind of the difference for me, that it was a personal choice.
Yeah. It's
yeah, but we do want to hear what everyone else thinks, and your comments and suggestions, and who's against it, who's for it, who likes it, who doesn't.
Right.
So, yeah, leave your thoughts below.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us. See you soon.